Hey everybody, you're listening to the Smoke Meat Podcast. I'm your host, Brad Pittman. Today, had a good time. Got to sit down and talk to Eric James Morris. Young man's an actor. You've probably seen him in a lot of different stuff. Been going for a little while. Also owns a company out of Atlanta. And he's just an all-around great guy. He's a lot of fun to sit and talk to. And we're going to get to that here in just a second. But one thing I want to remind y'all of is we're sponsored by Joe's Underground in Augusta, Georgia. They're at 8th and Broad in the bottom of the Lamar building. Now, right now, Joe's is doing like everyone else and kind of, they're having to close right now because of this pandemic we're in. And their people are having a little bit of a tough time. Right now, they're closed, but they're still selling T-shirts with a logo on it on the Facebook page. Go to Joe's Underground. Yeah, that'll teach me not to put my phone on mute, won't it? But that was funny. And check them out. Get you a shirt. Help support them a little bit. When they open back up, everybody head down that way because there is going to be a party. It's going to be such a blast. I'm looking forward to being able to go back down there and have a good time with Jeremy and all the gang. Great drink specials, great food, just great company. Remember, I goes to Joe's and so should you. So now here is Eric James Morris and myself just sitting down having a good time here on the Smoke Meat Podcast. Hey everybody, you're listening to the Smoke Meat Podcast. I'm your host, Brad Pittman. Today we got a special guest. We got actor Eric James Morris on the line with us. Going to talk about acting, his regular business, and we're going to have a whole lot of fun today, just talking about random stuff. So take it away, Eric. How's it going today?
Hey, Brad, it's going great, man. How you doing during this pandemic?
Man, if I was any better, I'd be twins. What's not to love? I'm an essential person who has to go out to sick people. Gotta love it.
Yeah, man, we appreciate your service. I know it's got to be kind of tough, man, with all this craziness, man, with the COVID.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes, it's killing me. But, if people would do what they're supposed to, stay in, and if they have to go out, at least wear a mask. It wouldn't be bad. I had to go to the grocery store the other day, and I think I was one of 5 people in there that had a mask on.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Man, it is kind of awkward because, I know you just introduced me as an actor, which I am, but also I'm a business owner, and we do foundation repairs and waterproofing, and I'm still looking at jobs during this pandemic, I guess, because a lot of people are home and they're trying to get things repaired or whatever. But I've looked at several. I look at 2 or 3 a day, and I started wearing my respirator, not just a mask, but an actual half-face respirator.
Yeah,
because we have them for more line of work. And the first time I did it, I was like, man, I feel like a freaking idiot. They're probably going to think I'm some kind of germaphobe, but after I've done it a couple of times, it's like I don't even think twice about it. I just throw it on, go up and say hello. I just speak loud because they can't hardly hear me through the mask, and you can't see my mouth move, so it's kind of weird when you're talking to somebody. But once you do it once, man, it's no big deal.
Yeah, the great thing about the masks, though, you say they can't see your mouth move. You can say a lot of things that you don't really want people to hear, but you really have to say inside that mask. It's an awesome thing. With great power comes great responsibility, though.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. So, but yeah, man, you got to stay safe, man. You got to wear the mask and gloves, and I never thought I'd see some crazy stuff like this.
Oh man,
I'm not a spring chicken. I've been around for a while, and I didn't expect to see this in my lifetime. You hear about it, you read about it, in school or whatever, but now we're actually dealing with it, and it's just like, man, what in the world?
Yeah,
crazy.
I've been on an ambulance for almost 30 years, and I've never seen anything like this, and people aren't taking it serious now. They did it at the beginning, and now, because they're tired of being at home, they think, well, I'm not going to get it, and we haven't hit the peak yet. Things are going to get really, really, really bad, and everybody just needs to do what they're supposed to do and stay at home.
Yeah, it's kind of stir crazy. I talked to a few people, just friends and some family members, and they're just anxiety gets high, or worried, stuck in the house. It just kind of sucks, man. But there's a guy that I don't know him personally, but he's part of a Facebook cycling group that I'm a part of, and he posted a video, and the long story short, he said something of value. I thought it was kind of cool. It's just, we've all heard this statement, but really take it to heart now. Let's just take one day at a time, man. Each day is a new day, and just get through today. Don't worry about tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I do at home. I mean, I'm still looking at jobs, but I'm limited. I don't do anything except I'll go look at a job, wear the respirators and the mask, and I'll keep my distance talking to people, and come back. I don't do anything else. I don't go anywhere. I walked my dog for the first time last night.
Oh man,
that's the only time I've really been out. Besides driving to somebody's house. I have a lot of projects around my home. I have a fixer-upper house, and I've been remodeling since I bought it. But I'm limited what I can do because I don't want to go to Home Depot either, to buy a bunch of material. So
yeah,
just trying to stay busy, man.
Yeah, I've relegated myself to the basement, which is fine because this is where my little studio is. I've got a video set up. I do characters and that kind of stuff, and the other day I did one of my characters did the heat ball challenge. Made some meatballs. I'm a pepperhead.
Oh, are you really?
Oh, I am.
Super hot peppers?
Oh, yeah. And
I'll tell you guys do that, man. It's crazy.
Oh, man, I made these meatballs. They had jalapenos and habaneros that were fresh cut up in them. But they also had Reaper powder and ghost pepper powder, habanero powder. What else? Scotch bonnet powder. They were ridiculous hot.
Yes, it did.
And I've got a chef character, and his name is Rupert, and he talks like this, and he's got a big handlebar mustache and wears a do-rag and a chef's coat. Rupert is awesome. So I filmed myself doing these, I ate 6 of them.
What?
And while I ate 6 of them, I read and stayed in character, Brenda's beaver needs a barber. And it was amazing. Oh, yeah.
Man, that's insane, dude. That's crazy.
I tell you, it was awesome. But I made a Amazon list, and I published it to some people, and I basically put all of the hot challenges on there, and put some of the mega hot sauces, and told everybody, if you order something off this list, it comes to me. I will do whatever challenge it is and whatever character you want me to, and we'll have fun with it. And somebody has actually ordered 2 of the things, and one of them, I'm not sure what it is. The other one, I wished I hadn't put on the list because it's not hot. It's just nasty.
Oh, man.
And have you seen the Bean Boozled jelly beans?
Bean Boozled?
Yeah, Jelly Belly puts it out.
I've never heard of them, man. No.
Oh, man. For anybody that don't know, Bean Boozled, you have a little spinner, you spin the wheel, and it's full of Jelly Belly jelly beans, and you pick a color that you spin on, and it's either going to taste really good, or they made it taste like something else, like the brown ones can either be chocolate pudding or canned dog food.
I have seen that.
Yeah.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Well, I put the extreme edition on there, which has none of the good ones in it.
Yeah.
And somebody has ordered it for me.
Oh, man, not good.
Oh, that was going to suck, but I'm going to do it.
And they got like a worm dirt jelly bean or something like that.
They have brought back some of the old flavors. I know they've brought back skunk spray. The sour milk one it is horrible.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's like taking just a chunk of sour milk and eating it. It is so nasty. They got dead fish, stink bug.
Stink bug. That sounds gross, man.
Yeah, this is going to suck so bad. But people will laugh, so I can dig it.
Well, man, I tell you, there's a Asian restaurant not too far from here, and if anybody's listening that likes traditional Chinese food, it's called Tasty China. Mm-hmm. But I haven't been there in a long time. But they do traditional Szechuan Chinese food. Okay, so I've never really experienced it till we tried this place, and it's delicious, man. But I have to tell them, like, hey, man, whatever you think is mild, divide that by 2, and that's how much pepper needs to go in the dish, man. Yeah. It is so hot. I mean, you can't even 2 bites, and the lips are numb, and I can't feel my mouth, and you can't even enjoy it. I mean, one time I ordered a dish, and I couldn't even eat it, and so we just took it home.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I got it home, I put it in the strainer, and I washed all the peppers off of the steak, and then ate it.
Yeah, I've got a gallon bag of those peppers in the freezer right now, and I use those very sparingly.
Yeah, it's I don't see how you could do those things, man. I like a little bit. I like spicy stuff, man, but not. I can't. If it's going to make my lips numb, nah, that's too much, man.
Oh man, some of the things we've had. I've got a friend in Thompson, where I'm from, who he'll take these challenges with me, and some of the things we've eaten. Oh man, have you ever had a century egg?
What is it called?
It's called a century egg.
I've never even heard of that.
It is the Oriental people take a duck egg, and the way that they preserve it is basically they put lye and some other stuff on the whole egg.
Yeah.
And it pretty much makes the inside like one of the Jell-O jigglers. But it's this black, nasty, dark hunter green color.
Yeah.
And the yolk is the consistency of like toothpaste. It is, and stink.
Ah.
Well, it makes kimchi smell good. And we've done those. We've done mountain oysters, which, by the way, mountain oysters are awesome. If you've never had them, I recommend it. Just forget what you're eating. They're amazing.
Yeah, man, I don't know about that one. That sounds kind of crazy, man.
Yeah, we did those on a dare, and I when I was reading it, for those of y'all who don't know what mountain oysters are, pig nuts.
Yeah.
I got some of them, and I looked up how to cook them. And during paramedic school, we actually saw the inside of a testicle. They cut one in half. It was horrible. Looks like a gizzard.
Yeah.
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 I couldn't eat gizzards for a long time after that. But I was reading how to get these things ready to cook, and it said if you boil them beforehand, be careful they don't burst. And I told myself, I said, if I go to slice into this thing and it pops, I'm just going to die right here. But it didn't.
That's what I was going to say. When you bite into it, it's like a cream filled pastry.
Oh man, that'd probably be the raw one. That would be horrible. Oh man, I have some boundaries, and that one would be it. Nope, got to cook them.
Oh my goodness, man.
But yeah, we keep each other in check with the hot food, because we'll get on kicks where we'll do these challenges, and I've got some sauce that I made up. Do you remember the movie Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story?
Oh yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember every time we'd walk in on that guy doing drugs, he'd go, "You don't want none of this shit, Dewey." I made a sauce, and that's what I called it.
Really?
And when we start getting low, we just add stuff to it, and this stuff almost burns the bottle now.
Jeez, man, that's good. I don't say you guys do it. I have a brother-in-law. He was into that, like ghost peppers and stuff, coming from a special region and all this other stuff. I'm like, man, forget that. That's just too hot, man. Something that you eat and your stomach's still hurting 2 days later. I mean, it's just not good, man.
Oh man, that stuff's probably why I'll survive the COVID epidemic.
Probably, hey, man, you might be on something.
But I like eating spicy, but I can cook spicy and make it actually taste good and not burn you to death.
No, okay, but that's all right then. As long as you can enjoy it, that's the thing, man.
Yeah, I got a wife and 2 girls. They do not do hot like I do, so.
You got to bring it down a notch, huh?
Yeah, but I did a show in Griffin one night where I got their hottest wing. They called it, what was it? Can't remember what they called it, but it was one the chef made for me. And I ate 2 of those and finished my act on stage. Those things were, oh man, they were bad, but I did my act. And it turned out good.
That's cool, man. So you do stand-up comedy?
I do. I've done stand-up for almost 30 years here and there. I've never gotten really big. I've only gotten paid once. But it was an amazing show. If there's ever a movie made of that night, Ben Stiller will star in it. That's how it went.
Oh, sweet, man. That's awesome.
I'll give you that story because it's just so epic.
All right, let's hear it.
It was in Savannah, at a place called King's Inn. I don't think it's open anymore. If you don't know, King's Inn was a strip club. And it wasn't even a really good one. It was on the backside of a strip mall.
Oh man, that's usually the best one.
Oh man, this thing. Oh man, and the guy that ran the show, he was an ex-punk rocker who just considered himself to be extremely famous, but I don't think he ever was. Okay. Well, we pulled up to the place about 6:00 when he told me to be there, and we walk in, and the bartender / owner and one other guy's in there. Mm-hmm. And they said, well, he'll be here about 9. He always tells people to come early, and he don't show up till 9. So we're like, okay. People started filtering in. We stood out front to smoke because he couldn't smoke in the bar, which, okay. They have some standards, whatever.
Yeah, man.
This guy rolls up in the nastiest Miata I've ever seen. I mean, this thing looks like it should have had skid marks on the back of it. It was so nasty. And he rolls out of this thing. He is heavier than I am, and I'm 300 pounds. Shorter than I am, with the worst. His comb over was so bad it looked like he was wearing a Kango hat. And a burgundy members only jacket. I'll never forget it. It was so awesome.
Man, that's hilarious.
But he introduced himself, and he said, if you don't have a hotel, you can stay at the mansion tonight. That's apparently what he called his house, and he let the comics stay there. Yeah. And I thought, no, if I stay there, I'm going to wake up in the morning with a headache and a belt around my neck. I'm not going there. But he asked me, so what music do you like to go up to? And the Beastie Boys Sabotage gets me pumped, man. I vibrate when I listen to that song. I said, that one. Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. And he went on inside, and we had one of the strippers that wasn't working. She was hanging out with us, talking to us. Okay, she was pretty cool. Mm-hmm. Went inside, they had 3 working. Here is the hierarchy of the 3 that were working. One, you could tell she had danced before somewhere and just thought she was something else. And she was something else. Yeah. Another one, you could tell she was brand new. And the third one came walking out of the back in this lingerie that matched Homeboy's Miata. It looked like the tailgate of a white pickup truck after you rode on a wet road. Yeah. Holding her nose and blood just pouring out of it.
What?
Yeah.
That's,
and it had gotten on the front of the lingerie, and all night long she just kept that on. She was good.
Man, what she like this? Keep a rag on the nose all the time?
No, it finally stopped, but it was horrible. And
tried to do a dance and pinch her nose holding her head there.
They had 6 openers. And he gave them each like 20 minutes. Which, really, man? Come on. Yeah. And the stripper that kept talking to us was in the back lip-syncing their act. Wow. She told us that they're here every week, and they tell the same exact thing.
Man, it's new material.
I mean, they didn't even turn the jukebox off for these folks, hardly. They turned it down. Yeah. Well, they finally introduced me, and the bastard played Barry Manilow for me to get on stage to. Really? Instead of the Beastie Boys. Okay. Oh, that was so miserable, but it was such fun. It was hilarious the whole night. Yeah, Ben Stiller will definitely be in that.
Damn, that sounds like a good time, man. I'll tell you what. That kind of sounds like a strip club. There's one here in Atlanta that's been around forever. It's called Claremont Lounge, and
I've heard of it. I've never been there.
Man, well, it's known for, it's not known for the high quality strippers. Just put it that way.
Yeah. Say if Dollar General had a strip club.
Yeah. Like the original Dollar General, been around forever. Because man, I tell you, yeah, man. I'll tell the story, but my wife doesn't hear it. But I was in there one night when I was maybe 21. I was fairly, I was young, new to going to clubs, and sitting in there, and they served beer and kept me in the can, and what they had was Pabst Blue Ribbon, or Budweiser, I think that's what they had, and so we got us a couple of beers and sitting there at the bar, and there's this lady, this stripper, and she was every bit of maybe 60 years old, you know. I mean, she looked just like Tina Turner. She had this wig on, and you know, it was kind of cool. It was like, oh, this is kind of neat, man. It's like Tina Turner up in here, you know. And she's talking to me. She's sitting over here on the stool beside me, and she's playing with her. She's, you know, touching herself, you know. And she says, and she tells me, she's like, you know, I think I'm turning tricks tonight. And I was like, I'm like,
Good for you.
I think it's time for me to go home. Oh man, I never forget that. And that lady is she's actually well known at the Claremont Lounge. She's kind of a legend. She's been there forever.
I think she is still there. A friend of mine talks about the Claremont in one of his bits. Mm-hmm. And he was talking about a really, really old stripper that was walking over there to him, shaking her hips, and one of them came out of joint, and she just kind of moved a little bit and popped it back in. So maybe the same person. Yeah.
Damn, that's messed up, man. Sorry.
It takes a lot to catch me off guard. When he told me about that, I about died. I'm like, really, man? He's like, yeah, that really happened.
Oh, well, you know what? She might still be at it, man. It was a long time ago. So that might be a true story. I don't know.
God bless her.
Yeah, you know, stay at it, you know.
And the good thing is she's probably still working, because if you go to Claremont, you're probably immune too. So.
Yeah, you got to be, man. That's you've been exposed to everything there is, man. So, goodness, but that place turns into a dance club some nights of the week. It's like some nights of the week it's a strip club. The other nights of the week it's just like a social club or whatever. You know, it's a unique, legendary spot. If anybody's ever in Atlanta and can't think of nothing better to do, want to check out something, just go there. It's down off of, I think it's Ponce de Leon, near downtown. Yeah, man. So it's a legend.
I actually saw a candle that, you know, they make the scented candles with different specialties. I saw one that was called A Night on Ponce.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't have the nerve to smell it. I'm like, I cannot smell raw sewage and shame and Gina Tay.
It's almost scratch and sniff, man. That's not good.
But yeah, I'm fairly new up here. I haven't explored Atlanta a whole lot. Yeah. But what I have seen is just, it tickles me. You know, because you can see anything up there. I saw an old guy riding a scooter in the street. He wasn't on the sidewalk. One of those hover-rounds, and was passing people.
Was it?
I've never seen one that would go that fast. It was amazing.
Was it the electric skateboard?
Not like the Rascal.
Like a little.
Yeah, like the old person scooter.
Oh.
And he was passing people.
The Rascal.
I was like, son of a.
He must have had. You got it souped up, man. You took it to Monster Garage or something. You got a nitrous kit put in there. That's hilarious.
Yeah, I don't know if he had weed eater engines on that thing or what, but it was a beast.
Oh, that reminds me. I had a friend of mine when he was a long time ago for his son. You know, when his son was a little kid, and he had a little battery operated cars you can get for your kids, or like a little Jeep, a little plastic Jeep. It's got a motor in it, you know. Mm-hmm. Well, he took the battery out and put like a high voltage amperage, car battery or something in there, and man, it's in there. He just would do a constant burnout up the street with them plastic wheels. That thing went all foot, man. Oh, that stuff is hilarious.
Oh, it would not have done for me to have one of those when I was a kid. I probably wouldn't even be here today. The worst I had was a big wheel. Yeah,
that's bad enough, man. You got 3-wheel chopper. You got to watch out how fast you need the turners, man.
Oh, yeah. See, I'm not sure how old you are, but I know I was raised in the era of the 3-wheeler.
Oh, yeah, man. My buddy might have had a 3-wheeler.
I survived the 3-wheelers, a Honda Big Red.
Yeah, I remember that. And ironically, my friend that had the three-wheeler, we were riding, and I was riding a little dirt bike, and he was riding his three-wheeler, and his another buddy of ours was on the seat with him, behind him. And he hit a bump or something, and my buddy's on the back, his leg went under the back tire. Oh man, yeah, not good. I mean, it took the skin off, and I broke his leg. I mean, it messed him up. It about took his damn leg off.
Yeah, that'll leave a bruise.
That's me. Oh yeah, just leave a bruise. But that's my memory of three wheelers. I never seen them tip it over or crash. Of what you hear about on the news, everybody was flipping it and killing themselves. But that's what I remember about the three wheelers being dangerous. Was that?
Oh yeah. Well, we was talking earlier. You do some acting. What all have you done here lately?
Well, I've been acting I haven't been that long. I started maybe about 4 years ago. And I've been a musician my whole life. I always played guitar, and I started singing later in life. But when I was a teenager, a kid, I started playing guitar when I was about 12. And I had a stepdad at the time. I had a stepbrother that was older than me, and he played, and I started just playing guitar too. And I just really could and enjoyed it. I was a punk, I was into skateboards and just whatever. So later on, I had this little punk rock band called the Witch Doctor, and we were actually kind of pretty good, to be some young teenagers. And anyhow, we later, this long story short, I grew up, and got out of that mess, and I still play guitar. And then later in life, I got into doing acoustical one-man jam type things. I'd play at restaurants, bars, fairs, stuff like that. And so I've always been a musician. I've always enjoyed entertaining, doing a performance or giving the audience something. And later in life, my son, I have two sons actually. They're grown now, but when they were younger, one of them, he had an interest in acting, and we didn't know anything about the industry, me and my wife. So we just had this, got him an agent and got him some modeling and headshots done, stuff like that. And he started doing background work. And this is about the time when filming in Atlanta was really starting to kick off. The Vampire Diaries was being filmed here. It was when it was like in the early seasons, like season 1 or 2. There was a few other well-known shows. The Walking Dead had just really got started here. And so Hollywood was starting to come to Georgia at this time. So my son was doing some background work. He was on the Vampire Diaries and stuff like that. And, but him being a minor, one of us had to be with him on set. And one night there was a young independent filmmaker that was trying to do a project, and my son was going to be a featured guy in this bar scene. And so we were both there that night, and we a lot of his background talent for this thing, they didn't show up. It was raining really bad. He had a bad location, plus he was an independent film guy. It's hard to get people when you're not really paying any money, anybody show up. So he asked me and my wife if we would just kind of participate, just act like we're in a bar, act like we're talking, that kind of thing. This is background talent, Like, oh. So this lady that's done it several times, she was there, and she's like, okay, just look at me, and we're going to act like we're talking, but we're not actually talking, but we're going to just say stuff to each other like we're having a conversation. And she was like, just count the months or count to 10 and move your hands and nod your head a little bit like we're talking, but don't make any noise. I'm like, okay. So anyways, that's what we did. And then later that night, the director guy, he's just talking to me, and he says, hey man, you ever done any acting before? And I said, no. And he says, well, you should look into it. And I said, okay. And he says, you have an important look. That's what he told me. And I was taken back by it. I'm like, what does that even mean?
Yeah.
So I just I took it as a compliment, and it just kind of stuck out of my mind. I didn't really do anything about it at the time. My son, as time went on, he grew out of and his interest for acting just kind of dissolved. He was playing football in school, and the amount of time you have to dedicate to the industry is just ridiculous, and it's hard to commit because it's so wishy-washy. It's hard to schedule anything. And my son saw that early, and then he went to a few auditions in person, and he really bombed. And I think it hurt his hurt his ego, and he just gave up. I don't know. It's not for everybody, man. It's tough.
Yeah.
But I kept with it. I actually was like, well, you know what? I want to look into this, and I went and did some background work on set. I did a few. I don't remember where they were, but there's a couple of background casting companies here in Atlanta. One of them's really big, called Central. I got registered with them guys and went on some sets, some bigger projects, and it sucked. But I saw how projects work, how professional sets are run, and what it's like, and all this other stuff that you don't normally see. So it was nice to see that, but I didn't like it because I was spending the whole day, sitting around in a room or somewhere, literally just hanging out with nothing to do for 10 to 12 hours,
Been there.
The food was good. They had really awesome catering. It was off the chain. They'd have like salmon and, that's just high-end, delicious lunch, man. I'll tell you what. But I started doing some acting classes. I found a studio that was close to where we lived at the time, and I just kept going. And actually, ironically, through my business, I met a guy that I was looking at a property he was thinking about buying, and we got to talking about acting. Somehow he mentioned he was from Hollywood or Beverly Hills area, and he was in acting. So I started asking questions, and he could tell I was interested. And he used to train at a studio that's well known. It's called the Beverly Hills Playhouse out there in Los Angeles. And at the time, I didn't know what that meant, but I do now. That's very prestigious acting school. It's not easy to get into, but that's where he was from, and that's where he had trained. And so he was teaching part-time at a local studio that was close by. And that's how I heard about the studio that was in my area. So I went, and when I started trying to act and trying to learn how to act, it was like one of the hardest things I've ever done. And I like it. So I enjoyed the challenge. I enjoyed getting up on a stage and, putting on a performance and taking on a character and just being aware of, that you are a character and how to live truthfully through the character and have an audience believe that and make them feel something in the process. And I tell you, it's an art. People watch TV, and you watch a Netflix show, any of them, and you see one little part of it, maybe some cop that just all they said was, we got him, sir. You got to think now. 300 people probably auditioned for that small thing. Everybody, and that guy's been working his butt off to get the opportunity to even get that audition, let alone even book it. It's not easy. It is so hard to get anywhere as an actor, but you have to really enjoy it because the amount you put into it versus what you get out of it, sometimes it can seem to get way out of balance.
People just don't realize, that one little line, he may have had to say that 10 times from different angles and everything else.
Or you'll say it to somebody's not even there.
Yeah.
They'll just take your shot. I've done that several times where I've done there's a movie I've been shooting for a while. It's a Western. We're not 100% complete, but I'd say majority of my scenes, I'm not even looking at my other character. I'm looking at a spot because he's not even there. And you have to make it seem real. But when you watch that, when you edit it back, it does if you are comfortable with it. You have to train to do that. That's why acting is hard. You have to train. People think they're going to just be discovered because they look nice or, I'm going to be the best thing ever. Wait till Hollywood sees me. Just dream.
Yeah.
It's just not reality. It is an art form. It's really tough. Yeah. And you got to really love it. And it can bear on you when you do a lot of it. And lately I've been taking a break. Not just because of the pandemic. The industry has dramatically slowed because of the pandemic. There's not just everything's on hold right now. But even before that, I was kind of backing off not pursuing a lot of stuff, and because I could get overwhelmed in doing independent projects, things like that. I used to submit myself to projects all the time for parts, and then I'd get them, and then if I've got too many going on at once, and then I'm trying to run my company at the same time, it's just can be a huge problem. And it was getting to where, I hope actors don't think I'm trying to, brag or some crap, but I've gotten where I get an audition, and where most actors get happy about it, I'm like, son of a bitch, another audition,
Yeah.
And it's because I was committing myself so much, and I knew I couldn't commit. I didn't have the time to dedicate to it, but I would do them. So what I've done lately is I've quit submitting myself, and I just have my agency, whatever they send me, I'll do those, because those are going to be usually, well-paying projects, things like that. They're really hard to book anyways. I mean, they're, just for shows that you've heard of. So you're competing with major league talent. And for somebody like myself, my age group, my type, and I've only been doing this 4 years. Most of the other guys that I'm competing with have been doing this for a lot longer than me. So they're really, really good at this. So my competition is really heavy when I get into the professional market. I mean, like some of the shows that, that you would know. I'm trying to think of stuff out off the top of my head.
Yeah, I know I saw MacGyver.
What's that?
I know MacGyver was one.
Yes. MacGyver. There's some other stuff. I've auditioned for a lot of different shows. I mean, a lot of, I'm trying to think, Saints and Sinners. There's Tyler Perry's got a few of them. I can't remember all of them, but a lot of those. I don't know. There's a bunch of different ones. I auditioned for American Made with Tom Cruise.
Yes, I watched that about 2 weeks ago for the 15th time.
There was a co-pilot part in there that I auditioned for. It's been a long time ago. This was back when I first got into it. And I was like, man, this be cool, but I don't know if I'm up for the challenge, man.
Yeah.
It was a big deal, but so you audition a lot, and as an actor, I mean, you should be auditioning. Auditioning is just getting an audition is really the goal as an actor. Forget about booking. It's nice to book, but it's just not reality. You'll audition 1,000, not 1,000 times, but you'll audition a lot before you book one thing. Even in independent films, unless you're just what they're looking for. And locally, there's been some independent directors that just come to know who I am as an actor. And I've had some people just ask if I'll be in the project, and I'm like, yeah, because there's a character they think that I'm going to bring well because of my type. I'm what they're looking for, and they just happen to know who I am. The casting process can be a pain in the butt. And that's why, your bigger projects, they always hire a casting director. And that's what you go through Actors Access and these other ways where these castings come from. They're through known casting directors.
See, I got really lucky on the 2 movies I was in. I basically fell into both parts. And both of them, I mean, neither one of them were speaking, both of them were background, but you remember Fled?
Yeah.
I was in that. When they're zipping up the body bag after the prison break, that's my arm. And I'm in the background talking to some deputies because I'm one of the paramedics there.
Okay.
And the other one was The Mark. It was a little independent thing filmed in Augusta, and they needed, once again, background medics. Excuse me. So I'm in that.
That's awesome, man. A lot of times they'll look for, for background stuff, and sometimes even beyond, featured background, or where it's a little bit where you're not just in a crowd, you're like really a tight shot. They'll look for real professionals, like a real paramedic or a real fireman, real police officer, stuff like that.
And the neat thing is, it was a really, really good movie, but the mistake they made is they opened on the same weekend as Independence Day.
Yeah, and there's a lot of good films, unfortunately, that come out that are competing with a heavy hitter at the same time. And I
Yeah.
see that a lot. And I'm like, wow, was that because it was easier to open it the same day of another big blockbuster, or is it because it was just an accident? I mean, but I've seen that happen a lot. And that's got to suck.
Yeah. Yeah. But I am on DVD now, though, so. And I found myself on Netflix one night, so that was cool.
Yeah, that's cool, man. When you can turn on the TV and you see yourself, it's a neat thing when it happens.
Yeah.
Doing commercials, I've done some commercials as well, and those are cool because a lot of times I don't really watch a lot of TV, and I'll hear about it from a friend or somebody that's like, "Man, I was getting ready for work this morning, and then I heard you, and I looked over, and there's Eric on the TV." So those kind of moments are really really cool, and that part is fun. But to be honest with you, I don't even like to see myself on anything. Like a lot of stuff that I've done, I don't even like to watch it.
Yeah, I used to tape my stand-up, and I still do video it now. And for a long time, I could not listen to myself or watch myself. And
Yeah,
I heard somebody say, that's how you're going to improve. You've got to power through it and watch it and see what you're doing.
yeah.
And I noticed some things that I'll do repeatedly on stage I'm not realizing I'm doing, and I'm like, oh, crap, I need to stop doing that. And I worked on that.
Yeah, that's good advice. I mean, definitely, it is good to watch, especially when you're auditioning. A lot of people say don't watch your auditions because you're going to never approve of it, and that's the problem. You are your own worst critic.
Yeah.
But there is a time, like you said, you need to watch, and whatever bad habits, we all have them. There's a lot of little bad habits that actors have, and comedians, everybody that's doing a performance of some sort that you don't realize you're doing. Whether it be something simple like talking with your eyebrows all the time, you're getting over expressive because you're on camera. There's a lot of things that people will do they don't realize they're even doing until the camera's rolling. There's something like I struggle with my accent. I have a country accent. It's just I'm from Atlanta, but some people are like, "Well, you're from Texas," and I'm like, I used to live in Texas. Ironically, I did, but so I got it from both angles. But I lived out west of Atlanta most of my life, which is it's a rural place. It's country. It's kind of close to Alabama, man. So you kind of you take on that Alabama talk.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you have all your teeth. You can read on at least a fifth grade level, so we know you're not Bama.
I said, hey, man, the Alabama's, man, they get a bad rap. But so, as an actor, it's tough because a lot of times they don't want people with a Southern accent, because there's a stereotype associated with that. Now, the other times they do want a Southern accent. But with me, if you want a Southern accent, it's kind of, I don't look like I should have a Southern accent, so I have to either change the character, which I can if I had some time to prepare to fit the look for a Southern accent character, or when I'm playing the kind of guy that shouldn't have an accent, I have to really practice that and try to not sound, like I'm, from the country.
Yeah, I've been doing some characters on YouTube just for something to do, and all of them are. I didn't know what the character was going to be until I either put on the wig or the mustache or whatever, and everything I did was improv. But you go on my YouTube. It's Brad's Comedy, all one word. You'll love them.
Okay.
But one of my favorite ones is named Coach Dan Graham. You remember in the 80s, every college coach had their little show on Sunday mornings on TV?
Yeah, vaguely. I do remember. I was a kid, but I remember.
Well, Coach Dan, he's that guy that's way too overzealous about football and everything, and he don't have his own team.
Mm-hmm.
But he reminds me, I kind of got the South Alabama thing going for him. He's Coach Dan Graham. He does it all for the kids. It's all for the kids. And I can fall into that accent with him, and I can just roll with that for days. I'll catch myself doing it sometimes.
Yeah.
But he is so much fun to do. As a matter of fact, the Bean Boozled thing,
Uh-huh.
the person that got it wants me to let Coach do that. So
That's hilarious, man. I enjoy comedy, but I'm not a comedian.
yeah,
You know, I like to play comedy if I can get a part that's in a comedic project. I have fun with it, but I'm better at over the top comedy. Not subtle, not subtle.
yeah, more
comedy.
Farrelly brothers than Woody Allen.
Yeah, Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
I mean, it's large type comedy. I can do that, but
Yeah.
I can't do the stuff that's just naturally funny in a subtle way. It isn't me. It's just not my personality. It
Yeah.
doesn't read well. I play usually some sort of a kind of a bad guy and maybe a creepy kind of guy, unaffluent guy. Affluent creepy guy is even better.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. I tend to gravitate towards those types of guys, and it's just because of my love. That's all.
I just did a podcast with Ed O'Halloran, not Ed, what did I say, Ed? With Jack O'Halloran. And that's pretty much what he's played his whole career. He was Non in Superman.
Mm-hmm.
He played Emil Muzz in Dragnet, the big bad guy,
Yeah.
and played Simon Moon in Hero and the Terror with Chuck Norris.
Huh.
So, I mean, that's a pretty neat niche to get into.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with being the bad dude. A lot of guys that you started out as the bad guy or whatever, as they gain traction in the industry, they'll try other characters and come out of that, try to get out of the stereotype a little bit. I don't know if you remember, even McConaughey. He was a long time ago. He was in one of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies, and he had the mechanical leg. Y'all, you remember that one? I don't remember which one. It's Chainsaw Massacre something.
Yeah.
4, 3, 2. I don't know, but he had the mechanical leg, and he was part of the family and stuff like that. So when you look what he's done, I mean, he's done all kinds of stuff. It's definitely not anything related to being a bad guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, I've always told other actors, anybody that to find your niche and whatever that is, man, just go with it.
Yeah.
That's what whatever casting sees you as. That's what you have. That's what you have to go on. You can't really. Everybody's not going to be the Brad Pitt, or whatever. It's you got to be where you get in, where you fit in. Is probably the best way to say it.
Yeah, like I'm not a Brad Pitt at all. I'll never be a leading man, but I'm an amazing Brad Pittman.
Yeah.
So,
Well, Brad Pitt. I mean, a lot of people are not a true leading man. A lot of guys think they are, but if you read Brad Pitt's story, I mean, it's pretty impressive. I mean, it didn't like it wasn't given to him. There's plenty of attractive faces in Hollywood. But he just they struggled. It was him and I forget the other guys, but they did pretty well too. All of them, they struggled. They were in there living in an apartment together and doing the Hollywood grind, man.
Yeah.
But they stayed with it and didn't let all the negatives and all the no's get them down. Was it Jason Priestley?
yeah.
I think it was. Yeah. He was one of those guys.
Yeah. Well, maybe one day I'll get into acting a little bit more. I'd love to do it. I actually, before all this hit, I was sent some sides of a script
Yeah.
for a sitcom here in Atlanta, and they asked me to audition. It was just kind of out of the blue, and it was from the videos that I've been doing on YouTube.
Oh, cool.
And I sent in, I read for 2 parts, and I haven't heard anything back because everything's kind of, like I said, a standstill. But I'm assuming that I got it because that's what brought everything in the nation to a standstill. But if I got it, this hit.
But that, do it, man. If you like it, it's a cool thing. You have to really enjoy I've said this before in other interviews, and it still holds true. But it's not for everybody. A lot of people think they want to be an actor, but it's a tough thing, man. It's not easy. You have to really just have fun with it and not give a damn. I hate to sound that way, but that's really the best advice I could give anybody.
That's what I did when I started doing better in comedy.
Yeah, just don't give a shit. I'm sorry about don't give it. Don't give a crap
Hey.
about what other people think. And don't worry about the people don't approve of you and they think you're no good or you're not booking the show. You can't let that eat at you, because it will eat you alive if you let it. It will. And that's where the drugs come in. That's where the suicide rates come in. That's where all that stuff comes from. And sometimes actors, the type of people that are gravitated towards it, they care too much. It's hard for them to be able to say, I don't give a damn what you think, because they do. Yeah, that's why they're actors. They're performers, and they want to do a good performance. So it's tough. It's a challenge. But if you can get past that, like you just said, and get to where you truly just do not really care, you still would do a good job. You still try. I'm not saying don't show up.
You care about your craft, but you're doing it for you.
Exactly. Yeah, you do it for you, and don't worry about if they don't like it. That's okay, man. Mm-hmm. And here's the thing: no matter how far you get in this as an actor or musician, comedian, whatever, there's always going to be some people that just don't like you.
Mm-hmm.
Just the facts, man. And who cares?
Yeah, definitely. Well, let's wrap this here thing up a little bit.
Yeah.
I done took up a boatload of your Saturday afternoon.
Well, I'm just chilling at the pandemic, man. I'm just, like I said, just hanging out. And just was writing some estimates, oddly enough, just chilling on the couch, man, watching YouTube. So it's not bothering me, man. But yeah, I appreciate you having me on your show.
Hey, I appreciate you coming on, man. I've had a ball. We can do it again whenever you want to. You got my number. All you got to do is holler and say, hey, fat boy, let's talk.
Damn, okay.
And we can do it.
Well, cool, man. Hey, if you do some comedy in Atlanta, you need to let me know. Now they got some good places. I'm sure they got the Punchline.
Oh yeah. Laughing Skull.
Yep, Laughing Skull, Dad's Garage.
Mm-hmm.
There's a few places, So definitely, if you decide to do one up here, let me know. I'll come.
I definitely will. Well, I appreciate it, man, and everybody. This has been a fun talk. Y'all just keep listening, enjoy this podcast, and we are out of here.
Thanks a lot. Take care.
Hey.